You refuse to practice and work on your talents and work on your accomplishments so that way you could get a lot better and a lot knowledgeable on certain things in order for you to stay on top. It's one thing to build a house, it's another thing to take care of the house. So back in middle school, I started off my track career. I was in the 100-meter dash, the 200-meter dash, the 400-meter dash, the 4x1, and the 4x4. And for some that don't know what a 4x1 is, it's 4 people running one lap around the track. Each and every single one of those people will only run 100 meters. So one person will run one turn, next person will run the straightaway, other person will run the next turn, and the last person will run the straightaway. That's a 4x1. A 4x4 is when 4 people runs one lap around the track. So basically one person would start off, they'll run one lap around the whole entire track, hand off the stick, and so on and so forth. But we call it a baton, but for your sake, I called it a stick. Listen, so I started off my track years back in the 7th grade, being able to run. So we had districts within our conference and everything, so you had the ability to win a medal at the end of your whole entire track career once you were done. So my 7th grade year, I wasn't all that great. I was good, my times were good, but for an athlete who didn't do anything prior to joining the track team his 7th grade year, the times were actually good. It was actually sufficient. It wasn't able to get me to place throughout my seasons and throughout my track meets, but it was good enough because it was like, oh, this kid has some talent. There's a promise that he'll be a lot better. So between my 7th and 8th grade year, I went to the gym a few times, lifted a little bit, but nothing crazy. And during my 8th grade year on the track, my times significantly went lower. Now, that was off of like kind of raw talent without me having to exercise much and practice much, besides me going to track practice with my coaches and my teammates and leaving that and then going home and doing whatever I wanted to do, eating whatever I wanted to eat, and being okay with that. So that's where my times ended up. So once I qualified for districts my 8th grade year, I didn't necessarily get a medal that year, but between the time of my 8th grade year and 9th grade year, things have changed dramatically. I was able to place for the 100-meter dash, I was able to place for the 200-meter dash, the 4x1, and I believe the 4x4 as well. We were able to place and the 400 as well. But I thought I was on top of the world. I thought there was nothing for me to worry about. I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, this is great. I don't have to worry about anything. I'm fast out here. There's nobody else coming into the districts, nobody else coming into the conference that's gonna dethrone me from the spot that I had. So come my sophomore year, I moved up to varsity. Now that's a whole entire different animal. My times stayed typically around the same amount of time that I was running throughout my 9th grade year. It went down and fluctuated a little bit, but nothing dramatically changed like it changed from my 8th grade year to my freshman year in high school. So I was constantly trying to figure out what was going on, but I knew that I was like one of the best within the districts, one of the best within the conference, but knowing me, I had other higher upperclassmen placing and doing whatever they were doing in the off season and training in order for them to place and get the medals and get the higher honors that they so deserved that I didn't put the work in for. So there was a runner, a sprinter that actually placed within districts. I believe he placed like 6th place at districts, and he was a sophomore as well. He ran when I ran, and we ran in the same heat my freshman year at districts, and he was able to place on the varsity level, while myself, I didn't even make it to the finals for the 100 or the 200 during my first year on varsity. Now, I was dumbfounded. I was like, what's going on? Like, he got faster, what's going on? This. Nothing was clicking to me. I was highly upset, but I was like, all right, this season wasn't my season. I'll come back next season and I'll be able to like take the crown and I'll be able to do what I'm supposed to do. Same thing happened the following season, but even more people within my year was able to place. And I was just sitting there like, what's going on here? Like, shouldn't I be up there as well? Shouldn't I be the one at the podium receiving these medals? Because I was receiving these same medals with these athletes when I was in 9th grade on junior varsity. I should be getting the same acclamations and the same applause and the same recognition as they should, because I'm just as fast as them. But this is where I went wrong. See, in the summer months, I ultimately worked at McDonald's, had a summer job, I was working and everything. I didn't pay close attention to me needing to train for the following season once the season ended. And if I did take heed of that, I wasn't taking it as seriously, because I was skipping out on certain workouts. I was skipping out on going lifting. I was skipping out on some of the running exercises and some of the stretches and some of the agilities and speed workouts that I needed to do, so that way my body could get trained up and faster and overworked a little bit, so that way I could actually have the proper skills and the proper needs for me to ultimately get to the podium and have the applause that everybody else was receiving, that I should have received myself. Now see, me, after I was able to receive my first medal in junior varsity, I thought that was it. I thought I was good. I thought I didn't have to put in any more work. I thought things were set in stone. I'm not gonna be dethroned. It's only up from here. But I was solely relying on my talent and what I was able to do naturally with that raw speed that I had. But I never worked that speed. I never worked my talent in order for it to provide me with something that was gonna be a lot greater and that was gonna get me to the next level and top off a lot of other athletes, for me to represent my school and my districts at states, and for me to be the best person on that track at that moment. Listen, I bring this up because there's many of you who have received certain acclimates and certain applause and certain things in life, and not just in life, but throughout your jobs and throughout your classwork and throughout your schoolwork. And ultimately, that applause and that recognition is kind of holding you back, and it's stunting your growth and what you could potentially do a lot further. Yes, we know that you're talented at singing. We know that you're talented at some of the sports that you're doing. We know that you're talented with the brains that you have that sometimes you don't even have to study. And we know that you're talented with a lot of other things that you are doing. Don't be like me, because you have an opportunity to honestly keep on going and keep on pushing through in order for you to fight on and get to where you want to get to. Just because you received that promotion, just because you received that good grade on an exam, doesn't mean that your time is up and it's time for you to kick back and relax and just chill. Because at the end of the day, if you do that, the next person behind you that was right on your tail is ultimately gonna zoom past you, and then you're gonna sit and wonder what's going on. Take this example for a little bit. If you was at a new company and they came out with the laptops and they said everybody needs to learn how to use the computers, but yet you was one of those people that was like, I don't want to learn this, I don't need to learn it, I just got a prize in doing this and this, being able to fax, being able to do all this other stuff, I don't need to learn how to do the emails. If you were a person that was to say that back then, at this time in 2019, you have been left behind only because of the fact that you refuse to practice and work on your talents and work on your accomplishments, so that way you could get a lot better and a lot knowledgeable on certain things in order for you to stay on top. It's one thing to build a house, it's another thing to take care of the house. I didn't take care of my body, I didn't take care of my speed, I didn't take care of my talent, which ultimately put me in another bracket that I didn't want to be in. Now listen, I'm only saying this because I know that you are probably feeling the same way. You probably feel as though you have everything set out and you graduated, you got the diploma. There's nothing else that you need to do now. You've gotten the job, you've gotten the promotion, and that is all you've wanted. But listen, don't just settle for that. Your talents got you to where you're at. Your talents got you to that new school, that new grad school, that new exam. It got you to be able to pass it. But don't be like me and just sit there and expect things to continuously to go well when you're not putting in the work. I didn't put in that off-season work. I didn't train my body. I didn't train myself. I didn't consistently use explosive workouts in order for me to get to the next level. I just did enough at practice so that way I could look good and feel good about myself. But at the end of the day, once the season ended, I didn't feel good at all because I didn't do anything of value for myself. Listen, it's your time to ultimately keep on moving up in the ranks. You've accomplished, yes, getting your degree. You accomplished getting that promotion. You accomplished getting that job, moving out your parents' house. You've accomplished getting to the school that you wanted to get to. But now it's time for you to work. Listen, leave a comment below telling us a story about a time where you thought you were done with a situation and you started to settle, but then things didn't pan out the way they were supposed to, and you ultimately got left behind, or you ultimately had to pick up the pieces and actually start to work. This was Ignite. If you took anything of value out of this, please share it with all your friends and family, because we're only here to do one thing and one thing only, and that is to ignite the flame within you, so that way you can ignite the flame within somebody else.